Hi everybody, Kurt Zepp here, and I know what you're thinking, where the heck have I been? Well, as many of you guys may know, I am planning on moving across the country. We're moving from Connecticut to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we're in the middle of things right now. Anyways, I figured I'd have a little time, and I finally feel like making a quick little video on how to make RGB stars from narrowband data. I did an image recently of the Sol Nebula, and a couple people were commenting on how my stars look really, really good. And even though they were just from narrowband data, so I decided to make a quick little video on how I did it. Some of you guys might already know this, how to do it, and some of you guys don't. But before I get started, the best way to get RGB stars is to shoot RGB data. But sometimes you just can't do it. For whatever reason, you don't have any time. Also, some people really don't care about their stars, and if you're shooting a big nebula, you're just going to make them so small, anyways. They're not even going to be. You're not even going to notice the stars. Me, on the other hand, I love stars, and even in big nebula that you would ordinarily just reduce them to nothing, anyways, I like to keep them, and so I'm a little bit fastidious with stars. So, anyways, I wanted to get the RGB look. So anyways, let's go take a look at how I did it. Okay, here we are. So here's my image after everything's done. This is my complete image. And here it is after I just got done combining my HA, oxygen, and sulfur. Here is my HA, by the way, oxygen, sulfur. All looks pretty good. I'll minimize them. And I combined them using multi-adaptive stretch, that new tool, and I wound up with this. Then what I did was I used spectrophotographic color calibration, and this is what I wound up with. But still, if you look at these stars, they don't really look quite right. You look at this, they don't really look natural looking. And here's what I wound up with when I did it. You'll see they look much more natural looking, a lot of blues and everything. So what did I do? How did I wind up going from this to that? The first thing I did was I did the StarXTerminator, and I wound up getting this. All right, so here's my nice stars. This is what I'm going to try to get up to, and here's what I wound up with when I did the unmodified image. So here's the stars. Again, they don't really look natural looking. And here it is after I got done manipulating them, so they look a lot better. Nice blues, yellows, reds, and all that. So anyways, how did I go from here to here? So here's what I do. Here's what you do, or here's what I did anyways. So I ended up using Bill's tools. I'll put a link. He's got a suite, and they're free, and they really help out a lot. There are a lot of masking tools. But before I do that, I'm going to use the SNCR function to get rid of some of the greens. So we maybe go down to like 78, fling it over to this, all right, and see if that did anything. It did a little bit, but not too much. Here's before, here's after. The next step, what I did was I did the image inverse, so I inverted it, and you'll notice you see a lot of greens again. So then I did it again. And now it just converted all those, got rid of the greens and made them blue. And now we're ready to rock and roll. And so I'm going to invert the image back again. Okay, so now we're ready. So we got rid of a lot of the greens. And now I'm going to use Bill's tools. And the first one I'm going to do is blue. That's the most important one. The reds are already there, but the blues, they're not there. So what you do is you take Bill's blue mask, and it makes a nice blue mask. Now you'll notice you doesn't really look like it's going to do much, but bear with me. So then we go to curves. First thing you want to do is go into where it says RGB, make a little real-time window, and then we're going to maximize as much as we can. Okay, and then we're going to close that out. To this image, we're going to take another tool called Bill's Masks, mask it, and it still doesn't look like much, I know. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make that curves function out again. And what we're going to do is we're going to make another preview window. And And now you can see it looks a lot better there. You can see what it's done. It has a lot of these stars that we're going to fix, if you will. And I can do it even again if I wanted to. I can do another fix on it. But you probably get the idea right now. I'm just going to, I think we fixed it enough, I should say. And we'll close this out, close that out. And we'll come over here to this and minimize that. And so what it's done now is I made a mask over all these stars that it was blue. And then we're going to take our curves, okay, and we'll make a preview window. I'll get this thing out of the way, and we'll put the blue and just scroll that right up, and we'll take the red. And I don't know if you can see this or not. It is really subtle. It did do something, and you might even want to go to here. Here you can see it. Watch this. If you really look on there, here. Oh, yeah, that's way too much. But we'll just go to here maybe. I'll show you what it did in more detail here. Oh, you can look at it on the preview window. It did it even more, the preview window. So I can do it again if I wanted to. But maybe what I'll do is I'll redo it with this preview window. So I'll take the red, go down a little bit, the blue, highlight a little bit. Maybe I'll leave it at that. We'll come over here and let's go take a look at the image right now. And look at that. So there, now you can see it. Yeah, so all these stars, they're nice blues are available. So anyways, that's how I did it. And if you wanted to do some manipulation on the red, why by golly, you can do that as well. So I'll take the blue mask off and come over here and put the red mask on. And you do something similar. The reds there's more reds inherent on this image already. So you don't really have to maximize them as much as I did with the blues. I will a little bit though. So I'll come over to curves, preview, just a little bit of maximization, not much. And then you can do more or less the same thing with the reds, only this time, since we're doing reds, what I like to do is take the red and rather than minimize the red, you want to maximize the red. And what you'd want to do is minimize the blue on it. And you can see the subtle changes on some of these stars, what it's doing to it. And you can actually do some of these things too if you wanted, but you know, those really, you got to be very careful when you're playing around with this A and B function because they whack things out real quickly. As you come over there, highlight it, okay, and voila, we're done. So there you have it. And here was my original star mask. Okay, so you can see it looks pretty much similar to what I did before. Okay, and that's how I did it. That's how I made these RGB stars from Narrowband Data, and then I just combined the images back again. If you're wondering how I combined the images back again, I use in PixInsight, there is the Toolbox. I just use the combine images right here function. So the Toolbox has a number of these tools. You go under Script and under Toolbox, you got to activate the Toolbox though. And so you might want to read up on how to activate the Toolbox if you don't know what I'm talking about. I suspect most of you already do. So they got combined images and they've got all sorts of things in here. Combine RGB and narrowband data. And they've got combine HA with RGB. I really like this one too. This is a really good function. So, okay. Well, okay, folks, that's all I have for you for now. And we'll see you next time. But I'm not sure when that's going to be.